Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 156 of the Runnin the Paint podcast. I'm Miles here with Nick and Joey. Guys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling great. Got one of the most hyped episodes of the year coming up.
Yeah, never been better, dude. I'm hyped for this episode. It's one of my favorites. I've been looking forward to it. Quick shout out to the Cleveland Guardians, because if you're not on the bandwagon yet, we're accepting passengers. We're on the come up, and I'm going to the game tomorrow night, so I'm really excited. But beyond that, yeah, we got Eastern Conference standing predictions for next season, and I'm excited.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, I thought John was
transition.
going to say something else about the Guardians, but no, it's definitely been fun to see them come on up here. But yes, we do have a super fun episode today with the Eastern Conference standings predictions. Three-man weaving it today. No, Benny's got some stuff going on down at OU, but luckily he has sent over his standings predictions, so we are going to have all of our hot takes or what have you here on this episode. So it should be a lot of fun. But first, let's get started with POELTL. Nick, who should our first guest be today?
Guy that we were talking about in the pre-pod lobby, on the wild card of the East, who we'll get to. I don't know where you guys have this team, but off the Sixers, Kelly Oubre.
Kelly Oubre. Let's see what Kelly Oubre can get us. All right, Western Conference guard or forward that is smaller than 6'5" and is 28 or 27 years old with a double-digit jersey number. So most likely this is going to be a guard.
What about I always go straight to the Timberwolves, like Dillingham, or I was gonna say Naw, but he's in Atlanta now.
It's got to be 28 or 27. So this is going to be another dude that's kind of like in the middle of their career with a double-digit jersey number.
Prior to 2018 draft or so, like 16, 15, 17, around there.
I have no clue what this guy's jersey number is going to be for the Nuggets, but Bruce Brown is someone that fits.
Definitely fits.
I don't know the number. I feel like he might be number 11 because that's what he was with Denver the first time. I don't know. What else? What else could we try?
I'm trying to think. I can't.
Do the Clippers have anyone in this age range? They're all above 30.
They're all old. I wouldn't. Let's see. Kings. I think Malik Monk is number 0.
That's in that age range, right?
Yeah, I think right around there is probably where we can get someone.
I was just talking earlier, like the NBA, the NFL, man, it's becoming such a young man's league.
It really is.
There's so much more information and like training stuff that guys are just leveling up so much quicker. And it's like you spend 5 years in either league and it's like you're on the hot seat. You better be producing.
Yeah, for sure.
Which should narrow down our pool of players for this POELTL player. But
is Devin Vassell too young still?
Yeah.
Because I know he's double-digit number.
Yeah, he's 24. I don't mind that at all, though. I mean, we could go with that to try to nail a number.
I would like. Well, Fox is number 0, isn't he?
4.
Yeah.
Number 4. Okay, so we got.
Vassell is like 25 though.
As far as his age, yeah, I think he's right around there as well.
But
Let's see.
Up on jersey number as well.
Memphis Grizzly.
Aldama?
No, he's like a 7-foot forward.
That's right. He's a 7-foot forward.
I don't know. We could throw out the Bruce Brown.
I like Bruce Brown.
All right, we'll go for it and see where that can get us. Bruce Brown. Yeah, he is number 11. Oh, so this guy's a small dude in the West that's not in the Northwest. So it's going to be 6'1" or 6 feet on the dot. That's 28 or 27. Who is a midget in the West that wears a double-digit jersey number?
Last time we had this sort of description, it was Jalen Murray. Or what's his name?
Jamal Murray.
Jamal Murray. But it was like, man, we should have got Jamal Murray way earlier, but we didn't. But this time, it's not the Northwest Division, so it can't be.
Yeah.
No. Let's see. Okay, just small guys across the Western Conference.
Anybody out of New Orleans?
New Orleans, Jose Alvarado.
Okay.
Alvarado's
good
not a
pull.
bad guess.
I like that a lot. We want to try to go with him.
It's a good pull.
Let's go with it. Jose
Alvarado.
Alvarado.
Swiper,
Yeah.
no swiping.
Beautiful. Jose
Swiper, no
Alvarado. Yes, he can shoot. If you know, you know. Jose Alvarado in 3. Let us know how long it took you guys to get Jose Alvarado.
What do you mean he can shoot? Explain that.
You don't get that meme?
Nick does not understand
Oh.
that. We'll have to show him after.
I'll look it up.
But anyways, let's get into our Eastern Conference standings predictions. Over the last 6 episodes, we previewed every division in the league, talked about every team, kind of their pros, their cons, what we can expect from them throughout the season. And now in these next 2 episodes, we're given the conference predictions. So we are putting all these teams up against each other as far as the regular season goes and trying to make our takes and predictions for next season. I'm trying to remember if last year there were any egregious takes in the Eastern Conference that went wrong. I don't think so. I think the only big one.
Maybe besides like anybody predicting the Sixers to finish top 3.
Correct. Yeah.
You mentioned Goglin as the Magic 1 seed last year.
Right. And then me saying that the Pacers were a fraud, and then they went to Game 7 of the finals. So, that's just part of the fun of it.
I think you used the word fluke. Let's not go fraud. I think
you're right, not fraud. Their run was a fluke, which I will stand by. I think it was a fluke, but it helped them for last season. But anyways, now we're another year more experienced with the podcast. This is our 3rd season of doing the standings predictions. So we'll see if we've gotten any smarter since we started 2 seasons ago. So let's start up from the bottom up here. I'm very excited to see where this goes because I feel like there could be a lot of parity in this conference because, again, it's pretty wide open with all the injuries. So let's start off with the 15th seed in the Eastern Conference. Joey, who's the worst team in the East?
GFF. The garbage fire franchise, the Brooklyn Nets. And I know we talked about the pre-pod like some of us did, win totals or not, but I don't even have them winning 15 games this year.
That was the bet that you kind of mentioned in the last episode.
And I'm sticking by it.
Nick, do you also have the Nets at 15?
I do have the Nets at 15, yes.
I do, and Ben does as well. So across the board, the Brooklyn Nets are number 15.
They're going to have less wins than they are ranked in the standings.
Dude, Brooklyn. I mean, we talked about it with their video or with their team. I mean, we were just laughing the whole time. But I do think that they are doing the right thing. The roster. It is going to be very comedic to see what happens with Cam Thomas and Michael Porter leading the way with all the rookies.
Interesting strategy. Interesting strategy is what we went with.
Yeah, interesting strategy, and it will help them lose a lot of games. So this makes perfect sense for them in the standings. 14th seed, Ben and I also had the same thing. This is where we put the Wizards. We had the Washington Wizards at number 14.
I did not.
Boo. Joey's got Charlotte.
I have the Charlotte Hornets there. I remember we talked in our preview video, the last one, that their win totals, I had flip-flopped, and I kind of believe it. That's what I think is going to happen. I think Hornets are going to be barely a 20-win team.
Well, we did talk about it. We can talk about it summary about what we talked about. The Hornets don't have anybody who's learned how to win. They're led by LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Konkanapel, and they really don't have any experience in winning. And the whole organization, we talked about learned helplessness, where you just kind of accept defeat. It's kind of what this Hornets squad feels like they're queuing up for, because after the last couple of years, they've had higher expectations and they just have not delivered. And that is becoming a trend. Meanwhile, the Wizards, like we talked about, are bringing in some vets. They're trying to fend off that culture oozing into their younger generation of players. So they're definitely from a managerial point and culture and morale, I think they're ahead. I just have some faith in LaMelo and Brandon Miller to stay on the court and hopefully get them some wins this year. I only have in my predictions here, I got the Hornets at 25 and 57, which is I think they were 27.5 for their over under, and I took the under. I don't remember. The Wizards were 20. They were a lower win total, and I took the over on them. But I still think the Hornets are going to finish higher.
Yeah, I think the Hornets will finish higher because they do have stars at the top that can still win games, and they are more talented across the board, and they should hopefully have some sort of progression with winning. But I definitely love where the Wizards are going. I love their direction a lot more than the Hornets right now because of all the vets and the defenders that they have growing up there. But they are definitely still at the phase in their rebuild where they're looking for their face of the future, the face of their franchise that they can get through the draft. And we'll see, man. We'll see and I'm very interested to see at the bottom of the standings for both conferences this season if the lottery results from the last 2 seasons, but particularly last year, will have any effect on the tanking from these 3 teams at the bottom in the East this year and then the Jazz in the West, considering that a bunch of good teams got the top of the draft last season with the Mavericks getting the number 1 pick. So, I wonder if that'll have anything to do with how teams will try to play things out.
You're insinuating that it might not be in their best interest to be the lowest seed.
It hasn't worked the last few years. It really hasn't. Like, it really has only worked for really the Spurs when they got Wembanyama in 2022. But besides that, I feel like being the worst team hasn't really gotten you the best luck. Like even Atlanta last year, they got Zachary Risachet at number 1 when they were a playing team as well, just like the Mavs got Cooper Flagg when they were a playing team. So we'll see, but either way, I think these 3 teams should be the consensus bottom 3 in the East. Now is where things maybe start to get a little interesting. So Nick, who do you have at number 12?
Like I said, 12, Chicago.
Okay,
I got the Bulls here.
Okay.
Excited for Bizelis. That's all I got to say about the Bulls.
All right, Joey, who do you have at 12?
I have the Celtics.
Interesting.
Ben does too.
Wow.
Attaboy Ben. Yeah, we talked about how, and I guess this is just what I want them to do. Like maybe they'll and I'll be honest, I truly believe they'll get 20 of those wins by Christmas. I think it's the second half of the year that could be much rougher just because they might want to rest guys if someone gets tired or hurt.
What do you have as their win total?
Their win total, I think they go 32-50.
Wow.
That's what I have for the Bulls in this spot, so solid.
That's fair, yeah.
It's about the same. All right, that's very interesting. I do have the Celtics a little higher. I still think they'll be a little more competitive, but my 12th spot, this might be my hottest take on the list already at number 12, and I kind of mentioned it during our division previews. Number 12 is where I have the Milwaukee Bucks.
Ooh, wow. Hot take.
I have the Milwaukee Bucks at number 12, and we talked about it during the division preview. Yes, Giannis is still incredible. I still think he's the 3rd best player in the league. I think across the board, he's top 3 player in the league, and he's, if anything, he's still been playing his peak level.
You're the number 1 Bucks hater in NBA podcast.
I was looking last season, heading into the year, I had the Bucks at 2 heading into the season. So this is actually a 10 standing decrease in predictions from season.
You want to know the biggest difference, though? Is they have Thanasis Antetokounmpo back this year.
Oh, right.
I'm glad that you have them here. That's really interesting, and I definitely could see
I don't hate it. Yeah, I don't.
A world where that is the case. What I've learned in the last, this is our 3rd year doing it, is that Miles has a very good memory about who predicts people where, and so I'm just excited that if the Bucks overachieve, that we can hold this over Miles at the rest of the year.
Yeah, that I'm the worst Bucks predictor ever. But as far as their roster,
you could be on the money though.
I just do not like their team at all outside of Giannis. I mean, Miles Turner was, a very good pickup, but him being the second option with the Pacers at best when they were competitive, he was the 3rd, 4th, or 5th option. You have Kuzma there who coming off of a brutal year, and then so many questions with their guard play as far as who's going to make plays, who's going to knock down shots, who's going to defend anything for this team. And Giannis isn't the most durable guy either, and he's going to have to seriously backpack this team for them to even have a chance, to be solid. Like the last couple of years, we know I mentioned defensively and how, much they most likely will struggle. And I know during our preview video when Uncle Joe was on, he mentioned, well, they struggled defensively when Lillard and Trent were in the backcourt and Beasley. But now Lillard's 25 points per game at the other end is now not there. How are they going to make that up either? I just do not see a world where this Bucks team goes really far, and I think they're going to be a lot worse than people expect.
That's very fair. I don't hate that. That's definitely a very real possibility for Bucks fans to like what actually happened. I just think if Giannis can carry Greece to a bronze medal in Eurobasket, I think he can carry the Bucks to at least a play-in this Eastern Conference.
Whoa!
Let me go off that.
Joey blowing Nick away with that.
Blew me away. But the biggest thing I would have to say against the Bucks coming in at 12 is that, like Joey said, Giannis is coming off a great summer, and like a lot of these dudes at the end of October, it's like, all right, like here's the regular season. Like people are lazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like NBA guys are lazy too. It's like, I don't know if every team is going to be as prepared as Giannis has. The Bucks, I think the Bucks are going to have a better start to the season than the roster kind of like indicates. I do think the roster's trash, but I do think like they'll be more ready to go simply because of how good Giannis is, and like he's coming off of a summer playing for Greece. I think that'll keep them above water for a little bit, and I don't know if I can see them like going all the way down to the 12 seed, but it's definitely a valid argument.
Yeah, that's definitely, again, this is a hot take. I wanted to throw a hot take on here.
I love it.
I feel like out of all of the ones that you could make, I feel like this one, I could see this happening.
I agree.
100%. The Bulls I had at 11, so did Ben. So right around the same range.
I got Toronto at 11.
I also have Toronto at 11. What record did you pick for them? Like, I'm curious.
36 and 46.
I also had them at 36 and 46.
I really wanted to put Toronto in the play-in this year. I think that they're going to be like in that hunt, chomping at the bit, and like be hungry to get in, so they could really like have a really strong end of the season and do that. I just had, the Sixers, Bucks, Celtics, Pacers, all ahead of them.
I have the Raptors barely missing the play-in. Like, I have the Heat right above them at 37 and 45, like a game above them. Like, I think the Heat, just because, and we heard about Harrow, we just heard about that, and he's going to be out for a while. But Harrow somehow always just stay competitive and just stay in the mix, somehow always get like a 9 or a 10 seed. So no reason to change my thinking on that yet.
Yeah, and I have the Heat at 10. Ben has the Raptors at 10. So, we're all in the same range. I have the Raptors a little bit higher. That roster just screams middle of the pack, so I have them a little bit higher, literally in the middle. But with the Heat, I think that, we talked about it. They should have a big bounce back season. Last year was just really weird with the whole Jimmy Butler thing over their head, both when he was with the team and then really appeared like it was still over their heads after he was traded away, because they just seemed to play a lot worse besides the 2 playing games. But I actually think with the Hero injury, obviously it's going to be difficult for them to overcome that because he's such a great offensive player. But I feel like there is a world where they don't take that much of a step back to begin the season with him out. Because, we talked about it with this team, the backcourt with Hero and Powell. There were questions defensively with those two in the backcourt. I think Powell is a solid defender, but I don't know if you want him to be the best perimeter defender in your backcourt. But now that Hero is out, Davion Mitchell can now be the starting point guard. He did a great job for the Heat last season. He can be on the opposing best, guard. And early in the season, one of the steals of the draft, Kasparis Yakushonis, will get a chance to be the, immediate backup point guard right at the start of the season. So I think there's a world where, yes, they get a little worse offensively, but I think that it may not be as big of a drop-off as you would think when you say that, all right, you just lost an offensive, star there, with the Heat.
Plus, he's a guy that like can pretty seamlessly kind of get back into the mix when he comes back from injury. I mean, he's a pretty plug and play guy, pretty plug and playable player type. The other thing is with Tyler Hero. Oh, we talked about in the last episode, we really like their starting 5. And then you got, Mitchell, Jovic, and you said Yakuchonis. Like the roster has a couple like 6-man sort of role candidate guys But after their top five, a couple of solid bench guys as well. I think I have the Heat higher than you guys.
Interesting. Okay, so who do you have at 10?
That's where I put Philly, the wild card of the
Cool.
East,
All
sneaking
right.
into my play-in. I have no idea what's going to happen out there in Philly, but we all seem to think that they can at least make the play-in. With Joel on the court, they should be able to accomplish that.
Yeah.
Feel it, yeah.
Yep, I've got them higher for sure. I think
Me
Ben
too.
does too.
Me too.
Yeah, so a little higher across the board. So Ben had Miami at 9. I have the Boston Celtics at number 9.
I do as well.
I still think they'll be right around that range. I don't think that they'll be that bad. I think they've got some serviceable guys, but at the same time, offensively, they're gonna need to find other ways to score than just hope that a lot of their threes are going down, because the defense has obviously gotten a lot worse, losing Tatum, Horford, Porzingis, Holiday, Cornette. Like, they've lost a lot of really good defensive players, so they're going to need to find a way to get some stops, even if their 3-point shots aren't going down.
Agreed. I just the reason I had them lower is just I really hope they do that, because if they really want to take an off year and this is the year to do it, you want to be bad. Might as well go for it.
I got a question for you guys. What seed do you think has the first above 500 record? What's the lowest seed in the East that's above 500?
Let's see. So for reference, oh my gosh, I forgot it
I have
was
6.
For reference, last season, the Detroit Pistons at 6 were the first East team that was above 500. Orlando at 7 was 500. You think about the same, Joey?
Yeah, that's exactly where I have it. Not those teams at there, but literally my 7th spot is 41 and 41.
I'm gonna say that the 7th seed, my 7th seed, is gonna have an above 500 record.
Nice. I don't think I said my 9 yet. My 9 is where I actually had the Milwaukee Bucks. I just think Giannis, he can still carry them into at least a late play-in spot.
And just to wrap on the Bucks, then I have them at 500, one spot higher, number 8.
All right, there we go. Perfect. I have the Toronto Raptors at number 8. So right in the middle of things. The team, again, just screams middle of the pack to me. I think they're going to win a decent amount of games. I think they're going to be creamed in a decent amount of games, and it'll have them right in this sort of range, which I think it isn't bad. I mean, I like their team. I think I'm excited to see again how Darko Rajakovic coaches these guys, because I think he is a good coach. Now we'll get to see how the Raptors can do with a more competent, healthy team with a lot of players that can do a lot of different things.
I'm interested to see how they're. Can you put that back up for just a minute? Because we talked about the 2 timeline thing. They're a little closer together in terms of their timelines, with Grady Dick, Walter, and Murray Boyles all being in the last 2 years. And then quickly Barrett, Ingram, Barnes. Ingram's the oldest guy. Pearl's been there forever too, but they're quickly Barrett and Barnes. I'm interested to see if they can intermingle those, 2, what did I just say?
The 2 timelines together.
As
Joey magically disappeared as we looked at the Raptors. Now he's coming back. There he is. But yeah, excited to see how that goes. But again, like we talked about, which one of those guys is going to be okay with being the number 1 guy and being the leader? Or I guess maybe not even that, if those other surrounding pieces are okay. If they name Scotty Barnes as the leader of the team, or Brandon Ingram as the leader of the team, if those other guys are going to be okay with that, and if that can cause any other problems on the court, because there's a potential for that as well, and they finish a little lower. For Ben at number 8, this is where he had the Indiana Pacers right here at number 8. I'm actually surprised that no one had the Pacers lower than this to start, but I'm not mad at it because I have them a little higher.
Yeah, I also have the Pacers just a little higher. I have them only 1 spot higher at 7. I have the Bulls because we were screaming mid. I have the Bulls at 8 just because, hey, they're mid. They are the mid team. So them right at 8, it just fits perfectly. They have a solid team. They really do. They just don't have a great team. And especially in this Eastern Conference with a couple teams that are on the fence that we've talked about, they have an opportunity, and they have a lot of guys that do have potential. I really like Buzelis. I'm a big Gonzalez fan like Nick is.
Senge is going to be interesting.
Yeah. They did play a fun style of basketball the second half of the year. They played a lot faster last year, which was super fun to watch. 7 for me is where I had the Pacers. Pacers, they're just always...
We all had them there then? Sorry. We all had 7 Pacers? I did.
You do too? Okay.
Oh, nice.
How about that? So, yeah, I mean, look, the Pacers...
I'm also surprised no one had them out of the playoffs.
I for sure thought someone had them out of the play-in, but it makes sense. We all got respect for the Pacers. They're not a one-man band just because Halliburton is out and just because Turner's gone. We still think they're going to be a competitive team to at least have a chance to host a play-in game, which is pretty impressive. But it makes a lot of sense with how well all the rest of those guys played last season.
Yeah, that's the difference between the Celtics and the Pacers right there is when the Celtics lost Tatum, they had a fire sale and they started shipping off everybody and not brought people back because they knew what was going to kind of happen. The Pacers, they only lost Miles Turner along with it. They have a lot of other guys that are ready to play and prove that in the playoffs that they can step up when it matters most. Like Halliburton, like as much as we can say he had a great playoff run, obviously his inconsistency on offense led to them losing a lot of those games, and we were critical of him in that area. But even with that, other guys stepped up to make them competitive in those games. They just needed Halliburton to get over that edge to win those games. Like Halliburton is like they're one of the most influential players on that team, but at any given moment, he's not necessarily the best player on the court. Like Siakam could take that reign probably a good 50% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, Halliburton just was their closer at the end. That's where he really stepped up in each round, which is still unbelievable. Yeah. But now it's going to be up to these other guys to really show their worth with, 2 key guys now off their team for the season. Nick, I know we talked about it a little during the division preview. What do you think they'll end up doing with their starting lineup? It's something that we've been debating a decent amount with, of course, the center position, losing Turner. A lot of guys that are either coming off of injuries or just overall didn't play a whole lot. And, of course, we've seen during times where Pascal Siakam with his Raptors days ran the 5 and the Raptors were decently successful. So what do you think that Rick Carlisle will do with the starting lineup in the front court?
I'm probably going to experiment and change it up to start the year. I think that he could go with Siakam at the 5 to start. But personally, I would put a center in there because, like, Siakam is a natural 4, I think, on most teams. And you would want to play him at his natural position. And you have 4 centers on the roster who, like, need to figure out what they do best and how guys play alongside them. So I honestly really like their addition of James Wiseman. I know he's been, like, not like the opposite of a diamond in the rough. He was a top pick that never really made it, but he was still a top pick, and he's still like in his mid-20s. So there's something to watch there in him. I think he'll change it up and mix in those centers.
It's definitely going to be a fun position battle because if Rick Carlisle does want to have like a traditional center in there, and I agree that he should do that. But they can experiment. Whoever's playing hot at the right moment, they got Huff, right, over the offseason. So, like, they obviously believe in his potential a little bit. James Wiseman has some untapped potential there. Isaiah Jackson coming back from injury. Like, who knows? It's kind of wide open, and he kind of has a bunch of options.
It is interesting. All those centers kind of play differently, too. They play a lot of different styles. Like, Jackson is a great rebounder who can catch lobs. He's like an energy guy. Jay Huff can shoot the ball from the perimeter. Wiseman can score in the post. And Tony Bradley's, a good rebounder as well. It's crazy that out of all their centers, obviously besides Turner, Tony Bradley had the biggest impact in the playoffs. In the back of center, as we also lose Nick as well. That also blew Nick away as well. But yeah, it's going to be crazy. I'm excited to see what the Pacers end up doing with their starting lineup. But now so I guess I didn't mention Ben's number 7. Ben had the Bucks at number 7.
Ben has a little more belief in the Bucks. Okay.
He does. I love as Nick rejoins us here. It's interesting. So Ben's got the Bucks at 7. Nick has them at 8. Joey at 9, and I have them at 12. So this is the steep drop off there. But now we are in the top 6. So here are all the teams that we think are going to be a lock to make the playoffs. Starting at the 6th seed, Nick, who is your 6th seed in the East?
Miami.
Oh,
wow.
I'm shocked by that.
I like Miami, man. I think they got a good squad. You guys know I love Bam. My top 10 center lists. You know I love Bam. I mean, Heat culture. They got winners on their team. I mean, a lot. I don't know what else to say.
He's got winners in his house. Aja Wilson, his girlfriend, literally just won MVP again. Like
the 4th time.
For like the 4th, yeah, literally the 4th time. Maybe she could teach Bam a little something about consistency.
Wait a minute.
now Nick's doing research.
It's like, wait.
This was Joey. I got a question for you. What is the hotter take? The Heat at 6 or the Bucks at 12? What's the hotter take?
Personally, the Heat at 6.
Oh god.
I think
it has to, because the Bucks, after losing,
I can't wait.
It makes sense for them to like drop off this year after they didn't already have like a great regular season last year, and it ended poorly in the playoffs. So that's not a hot take at all. To say the Heat did better, I can't. What is that?
Nick.
There. Look at the DPOYs. Look at the All-Stars. DPOY.
Wow,
5 years.
Wow,
getting votes.
DPOY 10. You know, Domantas Sabonis also got DPOY 9 one year. I hope that DPOY.
Is that true? Or are you just throwing out?
Sure I saw it.
No, he did get a vote either last year or
2 years ago or something like that. So
a vote is not 9th.
Or 10th.
Yeah, that could be. It could be.
It was 10th.
Oh,
Okay.
so he got the same amount of respect as Bam as a defender.
Correct.
No. I think the Heat at 6 is definitely a hot take. I definitely think so. If they get the 6th seed,
demolished, the worse than any other playoff team in history, and they're going to get infinitely better.
Infinitely, I got them like 5 wins better.
which gets them to 6. That'd be yeah.
They were 37 wins last year. I have them at 42 and 40.
Yeah, I guess if the 6 seed gets 42 wins.
That's who I have. Wait, no. I have the 6 seed a little higher, actually.
Okay. All right. Interesting. All right, we'll see. The Heat at 6. That's going to be one to note down for the season.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Joey, who's your 6 seed?
I have the Philadelphia 76ers at 44 and 38 at the 6 seed. They are the biggest wild card, so they could do what Nick predicted and be bottom of the barrel.
They were 10th for me.
10th, barely making the play-in. Or in this week, Eastern Conference, even if Embiid isn't playing all the time and all that, I don't expect Paul George to be as bad. They're getting key players back. I'm excited to see Jared McCain come back. I think the consistency of the floor for the Sixers is a little higher than it was obviously last year.
Yeah, definitely would hope so for that team. That's why I do have them a little bit higher. Ben has them actually at number 5, but his 6th seed, this is where he has the Atlanta Hawks at number 6.
I knew it.
Sad.
So Ben's a little lower on the Hawks than
that's my vote for worst take of the episode so far.
Oh, come on.
Okay, no. He has to give it to someone, Miles.
Well,
he can't give it to himself.
That's true. He can't give it to
I'm
himself.
guessing the 3 of us have the Hawks top 4.
We'll get to – yes, I do.
I do.
So I think 6 is offbeat.
I don't think that's crazy, though. I think the Heat at 6 is crazy. But, you can't vote for yourself.
Missing the play-in altogether is just wild.
Okay, let's start here. I know we're in the middle of the episode, but how many wins is a 6 seed do you guys think going to have?
44.
Between 42 and 45, I would say.
Yeah, 45 wins.
I don't see the Heat even.
I don't think the Heat are a 45-win team.
No, I don't either. But I think they're closer to that range than the Hawks are.
They're closer to the...
No.
I don't know. I wouldn't agree with that. We can agree to disagree.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
We can
That's
agree to
fine.
disagree.
The
Okay.
listeners will have my back.
We'll see. Let us know down below. So yeah, Ben has the Hawks at 6. 6 is where I have the Detroit Pistons.
Whoa, okay.
And it's not that I don't like their team. I like all these teams for the most part. I just have some questions with the team overall. I mean, again, we talk about it. We talk a lot about these teams during the previews, but with the Pistons specifically, last year they were the 6th seed. They jumped up incredibly, and not entirely sure if they ended up getting better or not, or if they got worse. If anything, they're the same or slightly worse because when you look at the transactions they made, bringing in Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert, losing Tim Hardaway and Malik Beasley, you get a great three-point shooter and a Swiss Army knife type player that can do a little bit of everything. Losing 2 great shooters, and the shooting is something that was so key to them jumping up in the standings last year. So I'm just not sure if they ended up getting that much better this offseason. So I have them still staying at 6, but I do like their team.
That's fair. I only have them one spot higher. I have them at 5. Not quite cracking 50 wins for me, but I think the getting Karis LeVert and Robinson isn't a bad takeaway. Some more little scoring. Plus, they're getting Jaden Ivey back, and I do believe he can be at least another a pretty solid, consistent number 2 scoring option next to Cade Cunningham, and that would be a really good duo that Cade didn't have for pretty much more than half the year last year. So
yeah, dude, that's a crazy good front court with front court, backcourt terms. Crazy good backcourt with size between those two guys and scoring production. I do think the argument about like their roster getting a little bit worse is true. I think it probably took a step back a little bit, losing those. The 3-point shooting was so crucial for them and their style of play and opening Cade up. So if that dips even a little bit, it's going to have a pretty big impact. But like my argument would be like Durant got better. Asar's going to be better. Jaden and Cade are both going to be better too. So I think like hopefully that can propel them to take the negatives away and inch them forward a bit. So I have them at 5-2, 45 wins.
I also do think Asar is going to take a pretty bigger jump than not quite to his brother level yet.
You got to shoot it.
He does have to shoot the ball.
That's the thing. I just think the 3-point ball is so important. And if Thompson and Duran get better, it's not going to be from the 3-point line.
Right. True.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So we'll see. I am very excited to see what Jaden Ivey does. I think he could have the potential to be, the legit second option on that team. I kind of just have to see it first to believe it. But if he does take that jump, I can definitely see the Pistons being higher. I feel like this, honestly, the 3 through 6 range could be completely interchangeable.
The reason I said Ben's take was the worst, I probably wouldn't have said that if he was here, to be honest. He's just not able to defend himself, so it's low-hanging fruit. But I can't fathom putting the Hawks below this team.
The Hawks below the
I agree. I tend to agree with
that. The reason would be injury, right? Because the front court health of Johnson and Porzingis is quite questionable. So that I understand. That I can understand. It's just, it's injuries are one of those things that's very difficult to predict and project besides these teams that have their star out for the whole year. So when you don't have that, it is kind of difficult to project that stuff. So I'm thinking that's what Ben's head is at with the Atlanta Hawks. But as far as the 5th seed goes, Ben had the Sixers at 5. You two have the Pistons. 5 is where I have the Orlando Magic.
Wow. Okay.
Because I have, similar to the Pistons, I have the exact same concerns with their team. While they did get Desmond Bane, again, I don't think one player is enough to solve the problem from 3-point range. So that's another thing. I got to see those guys improve.
Miles with Philly in the top 4.
I do have Philly in the top 4. That is what that means. But I do have concerns about the Magic's 3-point shooting.
I don't hate seeing Philly up there because if they do play to their potential, like if Embiid is out there for a good 60 games, not even like a whole lot, just 60 games.
Keep dreaming, brother.
I'm telling you, they're going to be great. 60. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Stretch.
I don't think he's going to. But this is obviously Miles predicting them actually fulfilling their potential.
Well, and the thing, I even think that if Embiid, let's say he plays 40 to 50 games, I think they could still be this good. I mean, their roster is very solid. It's pretty balanced, across the board. They have backups at each position that are serviceable.
They got a 2 playing the 4.
Yeah. Besides the power forward. But no, across the board, they have a lot of versatility. They are running the 2 timeline thing, but I actually think that could help them with this team because we know how good the young players of this team can be. We know how good Jared McCain could potentially be. He was really good. BJ Edgecombe is the 3rd pick. Of course, Maxi's great. Again, we still don't know what's going to happen with Quentin Grimes. That's still something that's going to probably have to get figured out in the next week or so now that we're getting the final stretch before training camp in the preseason. But overall, I just like their roster and the depth that they have across the board. And, last year was just a total disaster. I don't foresee something like that happening again. And I am also buying into skinnier Joel Embiid. I've seen pictures of skinny Embiid in training camp, so I think he'll have a bounce back season. So I'm
ironically, you throughout the whole summer has been can't buy into all these summer workout videos. Well, I don't know. I've seen Evan Mobley and Joel Embiid looking pretty good this summer.
Well, now it's the fall. We're not in the summer anymore. We're in the fall.
Oh yeah, happy fall, everybody.
Exactly. So now it totally makes sense. But no. So I have the Sixers at 4. Ben has the Magic at 4, so he has them top 4. Nick, who's your 4th seed?
Atlanta.
I agree. I have the Hawks.
Yeah, it's I almost never take injuries into account when doing these projections.
Yeah.
But I was going to say something else on Philly, which was that
he's lost it.
Oh no.
He's lost it. It's okay. Well, before we can get back to that, but Atlanta Hawks at the 4th seed. So Nick, who's always talking about, man, how do you guys have the Hawks so high every year? He has them as a home court advantage team. So why do you guys have them at 4?
Well, they were my best offseason award. They killed it. They brought in Naw and Porzingis and getting Johnson back. Yeah, I love it. Oh, Kennard was also a great pickup for them.
Yeah, they got great depth. Trae Young literally just had his career high in assists, and he's getting a new big man weapon and one of his electric young guys back in Jalen Johnson. I just think they are honestly really stacked. I really like this team, and a lot of good wing defenders. I know we talked a lot about them in the division preview, but I really like this team, and I don't even think them getting 4 is like the highest potential they can go. Like I think their ceiling is a little higher than this, but I'm going to tamper that down because we haven't seen that yet. I need to see it first before I crown them a little higher.
Yeah. So Atlanta, I have them at 3. I have Atlanta as my 3 seed.
The one thing about the Hawks to watch out for is the Trae Young contract situation, because we talked about it a little bit. And we did talk about it just now with the 20-year-old dude, coming in. There's just constant turnover. There's constantly next man up. And, is Trae a max guy? And he doesn't have a contract. He hasn't been extended. So, he's got another year on his deal next year. But after that, he's a restricted free agent or unrestricted free agent. And, that's important to guys. That is peace of mind when you're on the court. That's the most important thing in your life is to take care of yourself and the people around you. And if that's not a guaranteed thing in a year and a half, then you're going to have some concerns, and that stuff shows up on the court sometimes.
Yeah, that's why that's a huge reason why the Hawks do have some in-house pressure to do well this season across the board, because for Trae Young, I mean, you could make the case over the last couple of years, okay, the teams just have not been good enough to really compete. Joey had the Hawks at the 5 seed last season. I had them around that range the year before. When they got DeJounte Murray, there were talks of them being really good. But they just never really lived up to those expectations. But now I would argue that this is the best team that they have had around Trae Young since he's gotten there, with the defense, with the star power. I mean, there's a chance they could have 3 All-Stars in the Open Eastern Conference. They have 3 All-Star caliber players with a chance for Daniels and Risa to take jumps. And they also had, one of the best off seasons with getting Alexander Walker and Kennard off the bench too. So this is the best team that they've had since Trae Young has been there. And with Trae Young, needing to get secured on a contract for next season, he needs to prove that he can lead this team to win. Because if not, then the Hawks, there's no excuses anymore. This is their best team. There are no excuses anymore for Trae Young.
As I say, this is definitely even though it's kind of weird to say it because Trae Young's like a veteran in this league now, it is kind of a prove it year though because he does have the best team around. I'm looking at that team though, man. That team is very nice. Like you said, 3 potential All-Stars, a DPOY potential, and possibly an Alexander Walker or even a Okongwu as like a 6-man. Okay, they got really good depth. They got kind of guys all over the board.
Yeah,
I love the different sort of strategies that go into roster building. Like this team was kind of pieced together. A lot of it coming this offseason. You got Jalen Johnson through the draft, Trae Young through the draft. It's been like over the years built up. But then here's what I was going to say about Philly. What I've been saying on this podcast in the past is like they brought in they brought in Paul George to kind of solidify their big three. Like that was a max contract that was controversial, whatever. So the next question I had was like, are they going to do what Phoenix did and not be able to balance out the roster and just have the big three and nobody else? But no, what Philly did was they brought in Kelly Oubre. They signed Gershon last year. Like they made moves to actually improve the roster. And that's why I think, Philly, even if Joel, like you were saying, Miles, I totally agree, only plays 40, 50 games, like they still can stay above water. And it's just interesting, like seeing the different strategies that go into roster building because like we have the Sixers and the Hawks like right next to each other with 2 completely different strategies.
Yeah, very, very true. Very, very true. So yeah, I mean, the contract situation is going to be something to watch for with Trae Young. And again, even for this Hawks team, they have a lot of pressure too because Porzingis is on an expiring deal. He's a free agent after the season. So, they have a really good team, but this could be the only year that this team is together. So they're going to need to try and get things done this season, and Porzingis, I think, will probably be the key of that.
Do you guys think that he could get extended if they have a good start to the year?
Yeah,
maybe. I'm not sure if he could be eligible to do that since he just got traded there. Yeah. But he might be because I think Caruso got an extension with the Thunder last year, so I think he could be eligible for that. But we kind of have to see because we even saw last year. He had a really good regular season. Then the illness happened, and he couldn't do anything for the Celtics.
What did he just drop in Eurobasket though?
He did have that crazy, game, the crazy Eurobasket tournament there for Latvia. But that's what I'm saying. You can't really. I feel like with a guy like Porzingis, you can't make any of those crazy long-term decisions in the middle of the season. I feel like you have to wait out a whole season to see what you get throughout the whole year with someone like that. But either way, I'm expecting big things for this team. I know across the board, there are 2 teams at the top here, maybe not in the standings, we'll see, but that are going to be expected to do big things in the playoffs, that are expected to be in the conference finals. But I'm expecting this Hawks team to make a run for a conference finals or a finals, or for them to do what the Pacers did last year. This is the team I'm looking for to have a crazy run this season.
Agreed.
But 3 seed, Ben has the Pistons as his 3 seed. This is one of his hot takes. He thinks they're going to be a really good, tough team. This season, super good, a tough team for teams to face. It is going to be very difficult for teams to score on their team. They have a very defensive-minded front court, especially if Thompson and Duren get better. So yeah, Ben's got Detroit basketball as the 3 seed in the East.
He's the biggest JB Bickerstaff fan I ever met.
Yeah, that is actually crazy. Just because I like the Pistons, but their offense is like we were just talking about. Big question marks.
And JB's the head coach. We'll see.
Your offense is not off to a great start.
So we'll see. You two, Joey, who's your 3 seed?
Play the song. Orlando Magic. Let's go, baby. I think Franz Wagner is going to have a great year coming up after winning Eurobasket, after getting carried by Dennis Schroeder. But
yeah,
just kidding. I think Desmond Payne is going to – I know he can't fix all of the problems, but at least one person shooting a 40% clip from three-point range It's good enough to open up everything, at least when your starting five is out there.
It's a start to improving, that's for sure.
And Jalen Suggs coming back. I think there's just a lot of positives going into this year. Like, regardless, I think they're going to be a top 4 seed, even if their offense isn't that great, and it still looks like it's not going to be that great come postseason. And that'll be a different story. But at least in the regular season, I don't see him falling behind 4. So 3 definitely.
All right, Nick, who's your 3 seed?
I had Orlando as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess, went the safe route with going Orlando 3, Atlanta 4, but I just, I think that's like their predicted spots going into the year.
Yes.
I think that's on the money.
Yeah.
I like this team a lot. They were the 7th seed, sorry. But had probably the biggest offseason move of the year, getting Desmond Bain.
In the East. Shout out Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant. Forgot about that guy.
But for sure. Magic. They definitely could have potential to be in this spot. I'm glad we have them all right in this range. 3.
How many wins you got them, Nick?
50 and 32.
Barely 50 wins? That's where I have the Hawks actually at 4. I have the Magic getting double nickel, 55.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have high win totals in the East at all.
Well, last season actually in both conferences. So last season, New York with the 3 seed had 51 wins. Indy is the 4 seed at 50. And then even in the West, Lakers, Nuggets, and Clippers all at 50. So that's about the mark for your 3 seed as far as last year goes, right in your early 50s range. Well, that means we all have the same 2 teams at the top of the Eastern Conference regular season standings. The question is the order. So, Nick, starting with you, who's your 2 seed?
You guys know I got the Cavs at the 2 seed.
Oh, we knew it.
I'm hating on the hometown Cavs. No, I think the injuries at the beginning of the year are really going to hurt. It's going to hurt in the beginning of the year, like I just said, but it's going to force other guys to learn how to step into their roles and figure out their roles quicker. So I do think that'll maybe pay off on the back end of it towards the end of the playoffs.
Yeah, I'd agree. Ben has the Cavs at 2, and I do as well, actually, the Cavs at 2. But the thing is, we are obviously at the point where regular season does not matter for this team. I don't care what spot they are in the Eastern Conference. I'd love if they were 1 again. That'd be great because home court advantage, I think, is still important, even though the Pacers took all the games in Cleveland during the series. I do think it is still super important, but I do think that the injuries going into the season are going to be difficult, losing 2 starters. And then even it's actually funny. I was thinking going into this that I would have the Cavs number 1 and then the Knicks at number 2. But I got NBA 2K26. This is a backstory on the release weekend. And I've been playing my NBA as the Cavs. And I have injuries on with Garland and Strus out. I played the first game against the Knicks, and then Mobley got a collapsed lung in the game.
You got to turn off injury. If you're turning. Oh well, you said you turned on injuries.
Oh yeah. I'm keeping injuries on to keep it realistic. But that just had me thinking, okay, if they get another injury, then it just makes things super difficult for them across the way through. And obviously, I love the roster. I love the moves they made, Lonzo and Larry Nance Jr. Love those additions to the team. I think they're really going to help the Cavs out. I just think, obviously, the New York Knicks is who 3 of us have at number 1. I just think them coming in with a new head coach, year 2 with all those guys together, and they're going in healthy. I think they have a lot of things going for them to start the year, and I think they will end up getting the number 1 seed.
Agreed.
But Joe, are you reversed?
I couldn't have said it better myself.
I am reversed. I do have the Knicks right below them, and I actually do have both of them winning 60 games and within 2 games of themselves. I have the Cavs at 64 wins and the Knicks at 62.
Oh, okay.
So
you got the Cavs the exact same record as last year?
Yes.
Yep.
I truly do. And I think the missing of the guys, it's going to suck to start the year, and it's only just, in my opinion, it's going to be bad just because the chemistry with some of the new guys like Alonzo Ball, because Ty Jerome, when he was healthy last year and obviously fantastic in the regular season, he was on the team the year prior, even though he was just injured. So when he came back, he kind of gelled with everybody. When Lonzo and the guys come back, they're going to have to gel with Lonzo, and I think it might take a little bit because he is going to be a very important part of our team coming up this year, being the backup, given how important Ty Jerome was in that role last year. But I think we have the guys to fill it. I think DeAndre Hunter will, now that he's got a full offseason with the Cavs, he'll come in and he'll be fine if we play him as the starter, unless we want to go D-Wade, which we know he can start, and that's fine too. And then Lonzo will be fine as long as he's healthy. But if he gets injured, obviously it'll be easily switched with the Knicks coming in first. Knicks are a great team. I got nothing against it. It's just what I think, or hope at least.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that they'll put Hunter in the starting lineup and then Sam Merrill as well? Run Donovan at the 1?
I think it'll be something like that. I personally think that to start the year they may. You know what? I do think that Hunter will still be in the starting lineup across the board. I think it does kind of weaken the bench a little bit. That's why I kind of prefer Hunter off the bench as far as the regular season goes. But I mean, in the playoffs, I think they will be at their best if Hunter is playing out there. So get the reps with the starters. So if you can do that, I think that's the way to go. I'm actually not too concerned with the Lonzo chemistry thing because I think he's just such a great connector. I don't think he'll have a problem with that goes.
He can play.
Yeah,
he can play.
I think it'll just be more so, you might be right, Joey, with that because of just rhythm-wise, because they're going to have to manage Garland's injury, they'll have to manage Strus's injury, and they'll have to manage Lonzo's injury. We'll see if any of those guys play back-to-backs throughout the season, and if that costs them games. Also, last year, I mean, it was just a magical season for the Cavs last year with 64 wins. A lot of games went their way that probably shouldn't have last year. So I feel like that might catch up to them. But either way, I agree with Joey where I do think that both of these teams will win 60-plus games in the Eastern Conference. But again, Knicks 1, Cavs 2. In the playoffs, I think there's a chance that gets reversed. But we have to wait and see until that happens. But, yeah, those are our Eastern Conference standings predictions. Nick,
I do have one. Yeah, I had a closing thought or two. I wanted to ask you guys about the Knicks. Like, what would be something like they're bringing in Mike Brown? What are you guys looking for on the offensive end to what do you think he can bring in for them? And then the other question I had after you guys answer that one is about the Cavs and whether or not you think we're talking about injuries and stuff and kind of the whole connotation of the conversation we're having is negative a little bit. So I'm just wondering if you guys think it's how likely do you think is they slip outside of the top 2? And get overtaken by Orlando or the Hawks. Talk about the Knicks first.
With the Knicks, at least, I don't know how much on the offensive end is. I would look at it. I'm looking forward to how he manages the minutes and the rotation and stuff, because obviously the big criticism of Tibbs over the last couple of years in New York is the minutes and everyone getting nearly 40. So I'm very curious to see that and to see if he can get Cat to play defense. I think that's the big make or break with just how the Knicks roll. If Cat can be a serviceable guy and Mike Brown gets the most out of him and it is at least a disrupting body in the middle, I think the Knicks
he can get some DPOY votes.
Possibly.
If Sabonis can.
Yeah, exactly.
He can, anyone can. But no, with the Knicks, I think offensively, I'm looking to see maybe Brunson off the ball a little bit more. He had to do so much for that team, over the last couple seasons. I don't even think he is on the roster graphic. No, because it came after. But they did sign Malcolm Brogdon to a training camp deal. So if he makes the team, he'll be a backup point guard that also adds to the depth of this team. I think they are still missing some wing players, but I'm looking to see again how they use Towns defensively. If they run more bigger lineups throughout the season with Towns and Robinson together, I hope we don't see any of Yabusele and Towns together because defensively that'll be horrendous.
Nightmare. I'm excited to see their bench, though, actually be utilized because with McBride, Clarkson, and Yabusele coming off, and if you have Mitchell Robinson coming off the bench, that's a really solid 4 guys coming off the bench right away for you.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So I'm excited to see what they do offensively, especially with Bridges and Anunoby there with Towns for the full season. I think that all those guys will play a bit better. Well, I don't know all of them, but particularly Mikal Bridges. I think he'll play a lot better than he did last year. I think it was a little inconsistent for him. OG was great. Cat was great. I don't know how much better it could go for those two guys, and you know how great Jalen Brunson is. Josh Hart will be someone to watch for because we saw in the Indy series how he kind of got played off the floor a little bit, or how when he was on the floor, the lineups just weren't as great. They played better with two bigs on the floor. So those are things to watch out for this season. But as far as the second question with the Cavs and the negative connotation, I guess, on them, I don't like it, but they have put those connotations on themselves with how they performed in the playoffs. So whether we like it or not, they have put themselves in the position where they need to prove themselves come postseason time. So to me, it doesn't matter what seed they come in. They could finish number one. They could finish. They could finish outside of the top two. I think they could be a 4 seed. I mean, a lot of these teams could have a crazy regular season jump that the Cavs had last year,
right?
And overtake them. But again, I don't think that though if they finish lower in the standings, I don't think there should be anything. It wouldn't make sense to put any negative connotations on them for the regular season because
I got you. It's all about the playoffs.
It's all about the playoffs, and it's like if we shouldn't care about the regular season, then why are we paying attention to them if they finish lower when we were basically dogging on them for being the 1 seed and they're not performing? So it all comes down to them needing to perform in the playoffs.
I completely agree. If they obviously me having them in the first seed is just what I hope, but who knows? Maybe the injuries in the first half of the year really do hamper them a lot, like Orlando did last year, and they dropped to the 7th seed. I don't think the Cavs by any means will drop that far in the standings, but if they happen to drop out of the top 2, I agree. As long as they make it past the second round in the playoffs, I'm okay.
But I do think that they need home court advantage to do that.
They need a seed. I don't think they'll drop below top 4. I think that's the lowest.
Right. I guess at least I think they need home court in the second round in order to pull it off. I
was just curious.
We'll see, because it is something that maybe we'll see throughout the season. I mean, this Cavs team, while they have been super duper solid over the last few years and great in the regular season last year, we haven't really seen them pull off any like upsets on anything. Like they haven't really proved they could go on the road and win a crazy, playoff game besides game 3 of Indy last year. I don't really count the Miami games last year because of the big drop off there. But either way, excited. Of course, a long way to go until we figure that out with our Cavaliers. But overall, lots of fun, lots of parity. Let us know what you guys think about our standings predictions. The hottest take, I guess, let's see, the top 3 hottest takes are Hawks at 6, Heat at 6, or Bucks at 12. It would appear that Joey, or the Bulls at 8. Bulls at 8. So we all have a hot take in here.
Bulls at 8. Yeah. I'm shocked. Bulls at 8 being the
That's what it's for, man. It's for the hot takes.
That is what it's for. And to see which one of them comes true, because I'm sure one of those is going to somehow come true.
One of those will come.
I'm the biggest Heat fan all year now.
Well, yeah, I bet it'll be even crazier for the next episode when we have the Western Conference standing. That is a dogfight of a conference, and I can't wait to get that one started. But until then, that is it for us here. You guys have anything else before we get out of here?
No way. So. Good episode, fellas. Thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.